Hello, everybody. This is Marlene of Love Marlene 411, and welcome to the Sip and Chat, where we talk about all sorts of relationship problems and issues. Sometimes we focus on self love and our relationship with ourselves because we believe when we focus on a healthier version of love for ourselves, we can give healthy love and receive healthy love. So, welcome to today's conversation and podcast. Um, as I wait for my co host, Miss Nexie, we have a really good topic today in talking about like personal satisfaction with dealing with other people and them being satisfied with the way we treat them or how much we do for them. And this is something that it can be a very sticky area, but at the same time, we have to learn, ladies and gentlemen, that you cannot always do and be there for everybody and not be there for yourself. That was something that I had to learn for myself. I had to learn how to show up for myself. And until I learned how to be there for myself, I could never be there for anybody else. And until you learn how to love yourself, until you learn how to set boundaries, until you learn those things, you're going to always keep putting up with foolishness. Okay? So, hi to the WMBW Life. How are you doing? Welcome, and welcome to everybody who is in the chat. I appreciate you guys. As I wait for my co host, Miss Nexie, we are going to be talking about this subject of, you know, have you ever done something for people and you always feel like you never can do enough for them? Hmm. I have been through that in many different relationships. And the sad part about it is that you're doing everything possible, right? You're doing everything. You're bending over backwards. You're being the supportive friend, the supportive relative, the supportive spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend. And no matter how much you do, you never can do enough for them. They're never going to be happy. They will never be satisfied. And really have to ask yourself the question of, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep allowing people to treat me this way when I know that I deserve better than this? And you really do. We deserve way better than what we get. And it took me a long time in my life to actually have standards and to say, this is how I deserve to be treated, and not letting people treat you like trash, not letting people treat me like garbage because you're not garbage. And until you find that power from within and you have standards and you've learned to love yourself enough. I know that there's a lot of people that I've talked to via life coaching. I've talked to via email, and have all kinds of conversations. I know people come from all different sorts of backgrounds, and I'm not here to judge anybody. This is a judgment free zone, a supportive space, a safe space for us to have conversations about healthy relationships. Okay. I see some comments here. The MWB Life says some need to learn when to draw the line. Yes, and that is true. I agree with that fully. I agree with that wholeheartedly, that there's a lot of people that need to learn how to either zip their mouth. There's some people that need to know, like, okay, I'm asking too much, or some people are just dependent on other people too much. And sometimes I feel like people don't know better, because if you were unable to disable from your childhood and everybody did everything for you, and I'm only saying that because I'm a transparent person, that's the background that I came from. You know, people think when people do everything for you, you actually want that. But in coming from a big family, I wasn't really asked. Everything was done for me. And then by the time I got to be an adult, 18, then it stopped. And you're disabled because if everybody has done everything for you, now you have to go through the process of learning how to do things for yourself. And I think that's a very tragic thing. I think parents and siblings, aunties and uncles, and other people, they feel like they're doing such a great thing by doing everything for their children, and they're not. You know, it's not funny, it's not cute, and it really needs to stop because it causes people to become adults and still are like their children, like little kids. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because I know I'm not the only person that was shielded, coddled, disabled, so many things. It took me a lot of work for me to come to the space in my life to where I could actually do things for myself without having a meltdown because I was years behind in where I should have been as an adult. Hey Nate, how are you doing? Welcome. Appreciate you being here. Yes, blessings to the chat. How's everybody doing? Happy Thursday. I really appreciate every single one of you for coming. And I hope you guys had a great day, because this is the topic that so many people need to understand. Okay, a lot of people need to understand this part, and that's the reason why me and Miss Nexie, why we do the sip and chat, because we have to understand that there's boundaries that need to be drawn, there's rules that need to be made and to be enforced. And like I was talking about from the beginning, when you come from there being zero boundaries or people just not knowing when to stop, how do you, as an adult, cut that off? How do you have a healthy mindset and healthy focus? And it's easier said than done, because a lot of people will say, well, if you wanted to do something different, you would do different. It's way more complicated than that. It's a lot more complicated than that. It's easy to talk about things if you are not walking in somebody's shoes. It's so easy to judge another person, judge another human being, judge another woman, judge another man because of their behaviors, when I'm not trying to sugarcoat it and make it like it's acceptable. But sometimes individuals were not given the opportunities to learn things, or they were never checked on their behaviors. And they're thrown into the adulthood as dysfunctional little kids. And I'll say it just like that, because if that was not the case, why isn't there more relationships that's working out? Why isn't boundaries being met and enforced? And it's all because of people's backgrounds. There's a lot of people who do not have the background of knowing how to respect other people's space. They don't know how to do that. So, oh, I see my co-host Miss Nexie. Let's welcome her to the sip and chat.
How are you? I am so sorry steal somebody's iPad to be able to log in. So here I am.
Uh oh.
Yeah, for some reason. when you put it there on the chat, it doesn't. You know how it normally turns blue and you can just click on it,
Yeah.
but when you post it on the chat, it doesn't. When I'm on my phone, so I had to go get my iPad.
Because
So
I looked on my phone and it's blue.
somebody somebody doesn't really like you right now, but we're not gonna get into that
Um,
right
well,
now.
I'll hug them later and buy them gifts. I'll pay them off.
you
I
you can
believe
pay
in
him off
bribes.
with ice cream. Yeah, ice
Oh
cream
yeah,
machine.
I
Yeah.
know, I know. So Miss Nexty, welcome to the Sip and Chat.
Thank you.
Um, so you know what I have to ask you first. What are you sipping on?
Well, you. I'm gonna shock you today. You gotta be surprised. You gotta be like, oh my gosh, she's never
Um,
done this before. She's never had that plain water before. It's like, oh my god. Yes, I'm having just regular water over
Miss
ice.
Nexty, I'm really gonna get you because you were like, you've never seen. I was like, oh my God, she's having like some rum
Tequila.
or
She's having
something.
tequila. No, Miss Marlene, it's been very, very hot. As I told you yesterday, it's been like super hot here in Cali. And no matter, like, I love hot coffee, but when it's this hot, it's not enjoyable. So
Yeah,
I don't like iced coffee. I have to be in the mood for it. And it's very, very rare when I am, probably once a year, twice a year. So I have to, deprive myself from having my delicious coffee in the afternoon because it's so hot.
I know. I understand, Miss Nexty. So go ahead, Miss Nexty. Ask me.
Let me ask you, Miss Marlene. Miss Marlene, what are you sipping on today on our amazing sip and chat? Because I'm here now. What are you sipping on?
Miss Nexty, I am having Miss Nexty, I'm having a strawberry margarita.
I hate you.
Yeah.
I hope you know that. I hope I said it low enough so nobody else heard us. But I hate you.
That's okay. I'm
That
used to
sounds
it.
delicious.
I
Ooh,
need
you
it
made
because
it?
yeah, I bought you know
Mm,
how like they have the when you go to the store and they have those pouches that all you do is empty it and put in just some ice.
yes. And
Yeah.
extra strawberries.
Yep.
Extra
And
strawberries is always
extra
good.
strawberries and a little more alcohol. But something's in
That
my
Miss
throat.
Marlene, Miss Marlene, I was being modest, and that was a given. You and I understand each other, so I didn't want to, show you off as a drunker. So I was like, I'm gonna just keep it inside. I'm not gonna say it, but now that you said it, of course you added more alcohol.
Ah, Miss Nexie, I think you know me well enough by now that you know I only believe in brown liquor. Okay, I'm a,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a brown liquor girl. Okay,
I
so yeah,
no, I'm not judging. I'm glad you're enjoying your margarita.
and my niece was like, you don't put rum in a strawberry daiquiri. I was like, well, I do.
Actually, I've had it with rum, and it's not bad. I liked
I
it.
like it. It's my preferred thing. Like
Yeah, well, I
people
love
think,
rum, but
yeah.
yeah, like I'm not a drinker, Miss Marlene. I'm not a heavy drinker. I really don't drink that much, but when I do, I prefer either rum, or I any not any flavor, just certain flavors that I like and certain like strengths that I like, and then or whiskey. I love whiskey,
Uh
and so
oh.
I don't like mixed juicy things much. And beer, it's like coffee. I have to be in the mood, and it has to be like we gotta celebrate something before I can have it.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. We'll go with that.
But I'll take a daiquiri, even though I'm allergic to strawberries. I'll take it just on
Well,
that.
I'll make yours because I'll do an adaptation. I'll make yours a banana one. Yeah,
Ooh.
I've done
I
that
had
before.
Miss Marlene. I went on a 7 day cruise to Mexico. It's I don't remember what it's called, but anyway, it's a 7 day cruise. And we got off in Cabo San
Mm-hmm.
Lucas, and we got off and we started wandering. And this lady, very nice lady, said, I've been here before, and there is a super, super nice place. It's very quiet, very small. It's hidden. Not many people know. Um, Mostly the locals, right? But she goes, but they have the best mango margaritas you have
Ooh.
ever had. And I was like, I've had them all. Trust me, nothing can top my mango margarita, right? And again, I'm not someone that likes them. Like, I can order them and they'll sit there, like, I take a couple of sips and that's it. Like, I don't really finish it. So I give it away to someone. But yeah, I wanted to taste it. So I would go, and we had that Miss Marlene. I don't know what they put on that thing besides, delicious flavor. It was so good. I finished the entire thing.
Miss and hi Sirius, hi Nate, hi
Hi,
everybody.
Sirius. Hi, everyone.
Sirius says that she's a social drinker, not too heavy on the liquor. And I'm opposite. I'm not I don't like to drink when I'm out. I like to relax at home and have a drink. I'm more of a home have a drink because after I have my drink, I'm ready to be relaxed in my covers.
So you're like me. You're ready to go to bed.
Hmm.
My my son was opening a bottle. I don't remember what they were. I think it was a bottle of wine, and they were, getting ready to open it. And then my son goes, "Move away, mom, move away. I'm about to open this." And I'm like, "Okay." Maybe he's afraid that, the cork is gonna hit me or something. And I'm like, "Well, thank you for that." He goes, "No, no, no. I just don't want you to get drunk from the smell since you're not a big drink." And I'm like, "You little brat." I'm not a very heavy, like, I can have, I don't like fruity stuff or mixed. I like tequila straight, and I don't like lime or salt. I like whiskey, not on the rocks, just
Oh,
straight up.
you
And
like that?
so,
You like that hard stuff?
yeah, but I don't like to drink it. Like, a lot of people take tequila shots and they literally just pour it down and get the lime and get the salt, and that's not the way you enjoy it. I mean, at least that's not the way, we do it. But a lot of people do that. I like to nurse my drinks and enjoy the flavor of it.
Nurse? No, Miss Nexus. You just hit that shot and you're done.
I am nursing it. I'm taking care of it. Like, because, I'm like always caring person, so I'm taking care of my little drink.
Uh, um, the
I end up,
WNT.
Miss
Do you
Marlene,
see? Hmm.
I end up getting up, going to the restroom. I come back and my drink is gone. I'm like, damn it. I lost my drink again. They were like, sometimes they're like, it's been sitting there for so long that, the alcohol is no longer strong. So we had it for you. Let me pour you another. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah,
But I'm
you
not
know.
a big drinker.
Um,
I've never been.
well, you have some comments here in the comment section. Um, they're saying tequila straight, like they can't believe it. Okay, Miss Nexie, they can't believe tequila straight. And serious. I kind of feel like that was a judgment. You don't do anything brown. What? That was kind of hurtful. That was hurtful. Serious. That hurt.
Oh no, that hurt,
That
Miss
hurt.
Marlene.
Serious.
I
That hurt.
actually,
That hurt.
when,
To a Jamaican, you never
uh
say
oh,
you can drink rum. It's that's very dangerous. Okay.
Miss
Yeah.
Reese, we have to
Serious.
convert her.
I'll
We
give
have
you
to take
another
her to
pass.
Jamaica with us. We'll take her to Jamaica, Miss Marlene,
Yeah,
and turn her
and this
into.
will change your
I
mind.
love brown drinks now.
Yeah, then she'll say, I love brunch. I said, oh, welcome. Okay, Miss Nexty. Let's start this topic today. I was talking about it a little bit. I started talking about this that you can never do enough for them. Like the people that no matter how kind you are, how supportive you are, how respectful you are, they never are satisfied and happy with what you do for them. You never can do enough, and they're always complaining about how you could have done more.
You know, I come from a very large family, so like literally like super large family, extended family as well, right? But we are six altogether, so we have kids and significant others, and then I have uncles and aunties, and then my ex husband, and the same thing is a huge family. There is always a handful of people in the family, which is what I'm trying to get to, Miss Marlene, that no matter what you do, no matter how you assist them, no matter how much you help them money wise, how much you um, help their kids with schooling, or how much you do for the entire family overall, no matter how much you do, they will never ever.
Uh, did your mic go out, or is that me? I hope she will come. Her mic will come back. But in the meantime, let's welcome everybody in the chat. Hi Natalie. Hi Sirius. Hey Nate. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing great. Hi the WMBW. How are you guys doing? I appreciate you guys being here. I hope I want to know, do you guys hear me talking or Nexia? I want to know if I need to go out and come back. But I hope you guys can hear me. I don't hear anything right now from Miss Nexie, so I don't know if her mic is muted or what's going on. But I just wanted to say that this is a topic right here that a lot of people will be very upset because they can't control you anymore. A lot of people, they'll be very upset when you set boundaries. Like, say, before you were always a person to do a lot of people pleasing, right? And you stopped doing that because number one, you got sick of it. Everybody gets sick of being the person to always show up and do everything. And Miss Nexie, are you there? Okay, she'll come back. When people are like that, you just have to let them be. That's all. That's all. You can't change those individuals. The only person that you can change in that situation is yourself. And you have to stop letting yourself be something that you're not. Don't let people run over you and use you as a doormat. And I know that that's something easy. It's easy for me to get on my platform, on my social media and say, "Don't take nobody's mess. Don't let people run over you." But in real time, when you have relationships with people, it's hard for you to do that when it's applying to your a spouse or your kids or your relatives or a job or a friend. It's easier said than done because when we enable people and we keep allowing people to do things to us, or we want to help and support everybody and do everything for everyone, we also have to be accountable to ourselves and to say that I have to stop this toxic behavior, because we'll complain about something that's happening in our lives and how people are treating us, but at the same time, we're the ones enabling them. Because I know. this is a channel where I'm very transparent about everything. I know for a long period of time I was the toxic one. I would be so frustrated about how I always have to do everything for everyone, but I had to learn that no, I don't have to do everything for everyone. I'm the one that keeps doing it. I'm the one that wants things to be perfect the way I want to because that's just how I want it to be. So you can't complain about what you do for people and then expect for to get a different outcome. If you really don't like doing things for someone, if you really don't want to do it, you have to come to that space in your life to say, I don't want to do this. So I'm not going to do it anymore. And it's having conversations with people that you really care about, people that you really love, and inform them, I'm going to have to stop this because it's giving me headaches. It's affecting my mental health. It's affecting my sleep. Um, Being that, what is it called? Perfectionist, it really can affect our health in more ways than one. Our overall wellness, just so much stuff is affected because we can't say no and stick to it. Because you could be a person to say no, right? But are you sticking to it? Like you say no, but then you'll go back. Okay, no, I don't want to. Or when people know that, okay, just ask her or him a few more times, they'll come back. They'll come to it. They'll agree to it, and people know that they know when they can just play games with you. Um, we're the ones that have to say absolutely not. This is a new me. And when I have these conversations and we talk about these things, it's not to judge anybody, but this channel is all about love, healthy love, not toxic love. And I know for me, I saw a lot of toxicity, feeling that I had to do things for people, feeling that I have to buy gifts or do this and do that in order to get people's acceptance, in order to get people's love, in order for people, to support me. And that's not healthy. We can't maintain that on a regular basis. It will drain you, it will mess up your mental health. It will mess up your physical body. It will just do things to you that's not healthy because a healthy relationship is balanced and they will care about you. Miss Nancy, are you back?
Hello, Miss
Hello.
Marley. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on with my internet. It's acting up all crazy. I don't know what's going on, Miss Marley.
Mhm. That's Miss Nancy, you don't have to explain nothing. This is just a normal for the sip and chat. We're just
But
if it's not you, it's me or it's both of us. Yeah, everybody already knows what time it is, so let's
that's
just continue
wonderful,
the
and I'm
conversation.
grateful for that. Well, Miss Marley, the one thing for me, I feel, and I said maybe I have to rephrase this so that I can explain myself better. Um, as I've gotten older, I have a better understanding of um, how valuable my time, my resources, my um, mental health, my overall health, my mind. What I'm trying to say is that as I gotten older, I have a better understanding that the time that I was giving, the money that I was giving, the mental health and I went through, I had a better understanding that they are all they're mine to take care of, mine to cherish, and mine to give to the people that I want to. That is not an obligation. So as I have gotten older, I have learned to appreciate the fact that I have a choice, I have a say, I have a um, a better understanding on when to say yes and when to say no to certain people or certain things. When you're young, I think that you're so eager to, and still, we're gonna go back a little bit to our sip and chat of last week or 2 weeks ago, the fairy tale marriage, right? So you're pleasing everyone, you're trying to get along with everyone, you're gonna have the greatest family ever, and you're gonna have such a united family, and everybody's gonna be living happily ever after in that castle, your imaginary castle. So when you go into a marriage at a young age, or into a relationship, it doesn't have to be marriage. You can, live with your significant like that at a young age. You are so not mature. Your maturity level is very, very young, right? Very small. You really don't know how to take care of yourself, and don't understand yourself yet. So as I'm gotten older, all that BS I did in the beginning for all these people and all this mental stress and distress that I had from trying to be 1,000 people or 100 people, I should say, for 50 family members. I, all that, as I gotten older, and I've gotten rid of all that. Yes, yes, of course I can. I live in such a peaceful state of mind. I I cannot say that I'm 100% stress free. No, my job is stressful, but only my job is stressful. Not everything around me is, because I choose that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing about it, Miss Nixie. You've made the choice to have that life, and you have that life because you make decisions and because you set boundaries.
Yeah, and maturity, Miss Marlene. That's the whole thing. Is that as you age, as you get older, and you know how they say older and wiser. Not everybody, right? Not everybody. There's a handful of people that we know in our family that they haven't grown at all mentally, and we're like, really, dude? You're older than me, or they don't. But the normal folks like us and our chatters, we are mature. As we get older, we become more mature. We become more aware of the fact that we are the ones that have to take care of us, because we learn in the process of living that nobody else does it for us, has done it for us, or better yet, will do it for us. So we have to take care of our overall self. And we learn that as we get older, Miss Marlene. It's not when we're young, because we're so busy being a mom or going to school or working, taking care of everyone around us. And we're so busy doing that that I think it's like our brain doesn't really understand that we're on overdrive, and that it shouldn't be like that. But, as we get older, we start seeing those things.
I think that you get to a space in your life where you get tired of being run over. Like when you're young, you just kind of like, you don't like it, and you don't like it, but you don't know how to approach it and say, like, I don't like that, I don't want that anymore. But as you get older, you learn to find your voice, you learn how to cut people off, you know who are the users and the takers, and you set those boundaries, and you just stay that way. I used to think that the more that I was kind to people and supportive, I thought by pouring more love into people, it was going to change them and make them do the same thing for me. And all I got
Mhm.
was making more people. All I did was enable them because, oh, she's doing more. This is great.
Yeah, and again, Miss Marlene, is the younger version of you, the immature version of you. I'm growing up. I want them to see how much I love them and how much I can do because I'm grown now, and I'm independent woman. and I can do all this for them, and I want to show them how much, I can do, and I have matured and I have grown. But again, is, there's a reason why, there's a certain age of maturity, right? For all of us, there's a gap in between so and so age. Because I think that when we're young, I think if it would have been, if we were as wise as we are now when we're young, had perfect, I think I even would have gotten married.
Miss Nexie, you were cutting out. I didn't hear like the last 10
No,
words.
I'll say,
Nope, still choppy. Okay, I just heard you laughing. So try that again, Miss Nexie.
oh, I'm not connecting. Oh, no, no. I said that if we had the maturity level that we have now when we first get married, I don't think we would have even gotten married.
I know that's right. I
We
know
would
that's
have been like, yeah.
yeah. I never thought about it this way, but I like this comment. Hey, Sunshine Films, how are you doing?
Hi,
Um,
sunshine.
he says you can't pour your love into a toilet. All it does is flush.
Yes,
Mm,
yes. Great comment. And it's
that's
true.
hmm
And I'm gonna take it a little bit. If it's okay with you, Miss Marlene, I'm gonna bring it to a personal level for me.
Oh, sure, Miss Nexie.
Okay. Sorry, chatters, if you guys are gonna get a little bit of my personal, too personal life. No, but I was married for many years, and it's not I'm being petty. I'm not being like that. No, it's not out of that, and or out of anger that I'm about to say what I'm going to say. But I was married for many years, 20+ years. I was very young when I got married in my 20s, um, and I was too young to understand. And getting married to somebody older than you, I was too young to understand the difference, the gap in age, right, Miss Marlene?
Yes.
We were talking about this yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead, Miss Nestle. Yeah, yesterday we were talking about
Okay, okay, well,
the
yes,
difference in age.
yeah, that gap in age. My husband is not. I'm not gonna say he's 20 years older than me, but he is at least 7 years older than me, and that's a big difference for someone that it's in her early 20s, baby 20s. So a lot of my marriage, I was always looking out for the relationship, right? We started having children, and it was all about the kids and about making sure the husband is happy, making sure the kids are okay, happy, and everything is surrounded on that marriage, on the husband, on the to-do list that a young wife. What I'm getting with this that in arguments, because when you argue with somebody that is older than you, in arguments, sometimes I'm the type of person that stays quiet because I wasn't raised in a tumultuous family or environment. So I really don't know what to say, but I'm also someone that likes to think before I speak. Because when I'm gonna go off on you or when I'm gonna tell you off, it's gonna be something that I will not regret because I've thought it over and over and over. But the arguments will escalate to a point because I couldn't say anything. I was so scared, right? Because of all the shouting and screaming from my significant other. And I didn't know how to go about certain arguments because I was so young. You haven't experienced life. You're barely getting to be independent, barely getting to go out into the world. So when I see certain men years older than the baby they married, if it's a 20-year-old with a 40-year-old, or a 25 with a 50, it just is. And I don't know if the fears come back to me, because if I would have gotten married probably 10 years later, like at 30, there's no way I would have stayed 20 years in a marriage like that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Yes,
I
Maxie.
feel that as we get older, yeah, as we get older, we are maturing. We're becoming more, we're getting to know ourselves, our likes, dislikes. We become braver. We become more in tune with who we are and how much we can put up with without exploding. And then if we do explode, we have the maturity level to take it to make a point and to stop these people from abusing you, because sometimes I feel that it was an abusive marriage, Miss Marlene. I don't like to
Mhm.
go there because again, I don't want to be petty.
But that's not petty,
And
Miss Next. That's your personal truth.
personal life so
Okay. I missed what you just said, but I was saying that that's not petty. That's your personal truth, Miss Nexie. We all have things that we go through, and it's not up to anybody to judge the
yeah,
next person.
yeah, well, actually, I was more like thinking, like, I hope that because we have talked about this with my ex-husband, we are in a place now where, he has apologized to me in different ways. He, has given me the years needed to finalize the divorce. And he tells me all the time, I feel so guilty because of what I put you through, right? We have talked, we have gone through therapy and stuff like that, our own little therapy that we do, and we have mutual respect now for one another. But I feel that if I would have gotten married, later on in life, maybe 10 years later in my 30s, that I probably would have not accepted or allowed the many times I was disrespected, I was belittled, I was um, made feel like I had no worth, like I was nothing. So there's a reason why sometimes, we snap. Sometimes we take things sometimes to unaliving because we've been pushed so much and so far that you go to a point of no return because you're thinking, I'm done. I'm fed up and this is the only solution, right?
Yes,
So
yes, Maxie.
I, as I started getting therapy, Miss Marlene, I started going through therapy. As I got therapy, and then I started analyzing everything that was going on, I started growing because the baggage that I was carrying, with the traumatic childhood that I had, not with my family, but because of my SA, um, the years of that had done a number on me. But as I go with my therapy, and I to
Miss Nexie, it's breaking up pretty bad.
to
I'm not really hearing anything you're saying.
8 months.
Okay. It's
8 months therapy. My mentality to oh, I'm sorry, Miss Mar.
okay. She dropped down. Sorry about that, guys. Um, we're going to keep the conversation going while Miss Nexie goes out and comes back. But I did want to say this to everybody. Over here we had those conversations, and as Miss Nexie shared and opened up something so personal and private about being essayed and you know abuse. Period is never okay. Abuse is never okay. No matter what kind of abuse, the verbal abuse, um, the essay, when you any form of it, and things happen to us in our life, and we can't go back and change the things that happened to us, but we can work on having healthier habits and behaviors by working on ourselves, getting therapy, talking about what we went through with people who are compassionate and understanding, and not repeating the cycle, because I see over and over again so many people, because maybe if your parents did things to you, then you go and do that to your children, and then you create a cycle of generational brokenness, or a cycle of not communicating about things, or a cycle of ignoring the elephant in the room when there's a big problem and a big issue in your relationships, whether it's platonic or romantic. You need to talk about the issues, because ignoring it makes the problems worse. And a lot of people don't want to talk about the issues that they're facing because it's uncomfortable. Nobody really wants to talk about when they were hurt, when someone disappointed them, when someone backstabbed them, when someone did something to them, when someone did not do what we feel that we deserved to get a certain treatment. And when we don't, it doesn't feel good. I know, coming from a big family and feeling like I was always lost in the shuffle, being the last child, I had to, as an adult, learn that, I'm not a kid anymore. I don't have to let people run over me and disrespect me. And it's time for me to speak up for myself, because whether we like to do things or not, and I think I could speak for Miss Nexie and myself to say that both of us are people, we don't like confrontation. I still don't like confrontation, but at least these days, we both have tools, and we both know our worth, our value, and have love for ourselves to say, I'm not going to let you run over me and disrespect me. I think that's the difference between then and now.
Exactly, Miss Marlene. I could have not said it better myself. But another thing is that when you as you get again more mature, older, you start to also learn from your therapy how to um, convey a serious message or a hard no to someone without disrespecting that person. You know how to communicate. You learn as and again as you get older to how to communicate with your children, your adult children, because sometimes we try to communicate with our children as if they were still 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and it doesn't work. So as you get older, you get wiser. You get into that. Hey, they're not babies anymore. They're grown adults that do the same things. They hurt me. They talk back. They do the same I do, so they will understand my language now.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you said that, Miss Nexie, because it's true. Like when you have your kids, or you have your parents, or your siblings, or other people in your life, when people have known you for a long time and the relationship has been toxic, or you have not voiced and communicated what you're dealing with and the things that you don't like, they get used to, oh, I don't have to say anything, or I can keep doing this. They won't say anything. I don't have to apologize. I can show up anytime I want to. They keep doing things as long as we stop having those conversations and we keep allowing people to use
Yeah,
and abuse.
as long as yeah, as long as we allowed it to happen. And again, Miss Marlene, I didn't mean to get so, but it's something that had been bothering me for a very long time, and I guess it's something that I have never really voiced out loud, right? I have said it to myself for many, many a times, like I should have done this. Man, I should have not allowed that to happen. Oh man, I should have stopped that person when he got off from any time. So when you start getting older, mature, and more, and here is I, when you start getting, your mind, healthy mind, healthy mentality, when you start going there through therapy, through reading, because therapy is not for everyone. Understand? We hear voices has done so much for us,
Right.
right?
And that's the
Which is
thing.
why we continue to bring up therapy.
And that's
You
the and that's the thing, Miss Nexie, is we have conversation we have
help
conversations we have conversations
and they can be therapy because there's a lot of psychology that can help you really say, you know,
and that's one of the reasons why having conversations like this, it matters so much, because there's so many people in so many communities, in urban communities, in in just all kinds of communities where people just don't have conversations. People keep allowing things that they shouldn't. And when it's time to have those conversations, it's time to communicate about things. It's time to stop allowing people and their bad behaviors. It's time for us as adults to stop allowing things to happen to us over and over again. The first time something happens to you is shame on them. But if you keep allowing people to harm you and bring you emotional, mental, physical, financial, and spiritual ruin, then now it's up to you. No, and that was one of the things that therapy helped me with so much. And especially me being a person where I don't like to confront things, I don't like to talk about things because I don't want to hurt people's feelings. But I had to learn to get over hurting people's feelings, because the ones that you're so afraid of hurting their feelings, they don't care about hurting yours.
And you hurt them too, Miss Marlene, because by you not pointing or bringing out what they're doing to make you feel this way, you hurt them because they continue to have that behavior, not just with you but with others. So you're hurting them, on their overall growth as well. I feel that because I am like you, I'm not a confrontational person. I really don't like that. I try to, be understanding and have a conversation once I'm fed up with whatever it's going on. I think and think and think and then sit down and have that conversation with you. It may be our last conversation. That might be the last time I see you, might as well be. But I'm gonna have it because this is the reason why we're probably not going to continue to be friends or continue to hang out as family, because this is what I've been dealing with you with, and I'm not willing to put up with that anymore. So sometimes by not saying anything we also hurt them.
Yes. And the whole thing about it is that what I had to learn, Miss Nexie, is when you grow up in a very toxic environment, for me, my only way that I felt like I could communicate how I was feeling was to argue and, or speak loudly,
Mhm.
or or say something that was rude, like something with a shock factor. And I had to realize that you don't throw shots at people that you care about. You don't undermine them, you don't embarrass them. You give people dignity. Don't lower your standards, don't lower your core values just because you're upset. And that was something that it took me time to get into that space, because when we are upset or we're triggered or we feel like our boundaries have been crossed, sometimes you're not thinking rationally, and you have to think about think about things before you say it, because you can do a lot of damage. You can ruin relationships just because of something that you say, and literally a relationship can die just like that.
Yeah, of years. And another thing that again I have learned as I gotten older and wiser is that you don't allow it to get to that point. The first or second disrespect from someone, or a vibe that you get, it's better to talk it out. I have a lot of friendships that, or acquaintanceships that I have to this day have, is because I brought up something that made me feel uncomfortable, and then that person cleared out, no, that's not what I meant, or that's not what I was trying to do. It's just that, that's how I am. Or, oh, no, no, that's a normal thing for me, it's an everyday thing. So sometimes, because we're not clear and we're not putting um, how can I put it, priority on how we feel, or so to help us understand these people, we allowed them to get away with a lot, that at the end it hurts both of us. You don't have to, like, I'm the type of person that if you're yelling, screaming, I'm not hearing anything. And that's something that I used to say in my previous relationship, is that I don't care how much you scream, how much you yell, how much you call me names, how much you do any of that, because I'm not listening. I can't, my ears shut up, because I get, it's too loud. I don't get, you're going so fast that I'm not comprehending, so nothing is sticking. If that's what you're thinking, that you're screaming, you're this, you're that, is going to make a difference in me. No. Let's, once you calm down, and I'll be the one listening, going off, and then I will say, are you done? Okay, yes, I'm done. Okay, then. And I will get out of the room, because first, I didn't like this to happen in front of our children, right? Second is that I needed to go out and process my anger before I could say anything else, and I would just leave. And that will make that person more upset still, because I wasn't saying anything. But I always told them, two crazies don't make a sane. I have to stay cool and collected. This is who I am. It's always been like this, so I'm not gonna change just because you are someone that cannot control their anger. You cannot control your mouth, your brain. That's you, but that's not me. And eventually, that was to the point where I had to say, you know what, if you're not going to be able to express right, then I'm leaving, and I'll be out of there in 2 sentences, like, okay, I'm done, you're going to start screaming, no, that's not me anymore. But as I got older and wiser, I learned that no matter what I did, no matter how much of my day was dedicated to making sure that everything was good on that person's life, on their everyday, work schedule, everyday workload, whatever, no matter what I did to help him, nothing was going to be good enough for him. So I had to learn to say, okay, you know what? It's not going to be good enough anyway. So why bother?
Yep. Why really am I wasting my time?
Yeah. And I stopped. And it was awesome, because I had more time for me. I had more time to dedicate to, my schooling, my sometimes just pleasure reading, whatever I wanted to, watching a catching a show here and there, taking like some, a couple of free weekdays just to do nothing. So I got to the point where I was like, I'm done. And I'm also at fault because I didn't voice my dislike of that treatment. I just allow it to happen for years.
Yeah, Miss Nexty, but you know, you're not the only person because if you're that way and I'm this way, we're just two women who have enough courage to say it.
Hmm.
That we don't like confrontation, that we don't like drama, we don't like to talk about, talk about things because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. And that doesn't make us bad people. And either are other people who, maybe have an anger problem or don't understand about healthy communication. And the only reason why we have healthy communication is because we've worked on ourselves.
Hmm.
There's a
Exactly.
lot of people, Miss Nexie, who refuse to work on themselves. They feel like, oh, if you don't like it, then that's your problem. And they love to call you sensitive and oh, you ask too much and you think you're all of that. And it's
Yeah.
just all kinds of ridiculous, just it's just ludicrous, the things that they think. But what it is people get upset when they no longer can use you and control you like they used to.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Which is why, when I, again, because of my experiences, I tend to put myself in their shoes, right? I don't really do that. And when I see that the age gap is so huge, I go back to me. And I'm like, oh my God, I hope everything is well because, he's so young or she's so young, and this person is so much older, so much wiser, and knows a lot more ways of manipulation. So I'm always thinking, if that was my child, oh no, mm-mm, it's not gonna
Mhm.
happen. No, 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 never mind, don't think that. Because you see that the age gap makes a difference in how you think and how you process problems, how you process an argument, how you process defending your mental health, how you process life. It's a whole. It's so different with more years on you. So getting into a back to my marriage, I wish I would have waited, a few more years before I got married.
I think the whole thing about a life, Miss Nexie, is you can't live with regret. You
Yes.
you can't live with regret. And I know that's easy for me to say. It's easier to say than to do. But these days I'm thankful for all of the lessons that I've learned. For me, I've learned through therapy how to change the way that my outlook, the way that I see things and perceive it and process it. Instead of saying that you made mistakes, you are learning lessons.
Yes. Yeah. And Miss Marlene, even though it is sometimes a little bit of regret because I didn't get to enjoy life like, many of you did by dating and going out to parties and having fun. You know what I mean? Like I didn't get to live that life. What I did do, which it was a purpose on me since I had my first child, is I didn't allow my children to get married. Like I didn't allow them to think of marriage only because the household was chaotic or because they wanted to escape, they wanted to, I always make sure that they had a peaceful home. I always wanted to make sure that they always knew that this is where they can have the best of the best before they hit adulthood. And I always make sure that I explain to them the reason why I needed them to get educated, why I needed them to enjoy their youth. And I always tell them about me. I wish I would have had someone that, would have guided me properly. And that's what I'm trying to do with you guys. And I'm so happy that my children didn't get married very young. They got married, late 20s, early 30s. They're barely just one grandchild, and my daughter is 35 years old. So I'm glad that what I couldn't accomplish because of lack of guidance, I was able to have my children accomplish for me. So that on itself, even when I feel a little bit of regret, that on itself changes my whole mentality because I'm happy that all four of my kids, did the right thing.
Yeah, and right then and there, Miss Nexie, is you broke the cycle of,
Yes.
like some people call it a generational curse,
Mm-hmm.
of repeating the same cycle of doing the same thing. You broke a generational curse because you worked on yourself. And Miss Nexie, people just don't understand that that's something that just doesn't happen overnight. I know that it's taking you many, many years, just like myself. It takes many, many years for you to not want to go backwards sometimes into those bad habits, but that's where your therapy and those tips and tools, and you know what to do and about your what your lifelines are, and when to have conversations, and when it's time to walk away, and who you should cut off. All of those things really do help us, to be able to be our best, to be our
Yes,
happiest. Whereas before, we would just not really care about ourselves and let ourselves suffer.
exactly. We learn to be our own best friend, right? That the person that protects you, that it gets your back, and the person that is always going to be honest with you. As we grow old and as we use all of the tools that we're given, that's what we learn to be our own best friend. We learn to be our worst critic because it's needed sometimes. um, and we learn to be our best supporter, because you learn that through life there's only a few people that are gonna be able to be all those things that I just mentioned. So the best thing to do is to put it in you, because you know that you're going to be the one sharing the loudest for yourself, the one, giving you the best advice for yourself. It's you. You have to become your own best friend. And by doing so, you learn to love you more, take care of you more, make sure your mind is healthy, make sure that you surround yourself with people that you can respect and that respect you back, and that you can actually have a wonderful time, conversation, food, and with you don't want to you learn to not surround and I want to surround yourself with people that are detrimental to you, or that bring you down, and they hide under the we're family shield. So, I've learned, through therapy and all of that, how to make sure that I am surrounded by people like that. That whoever is not bringing me, and it might sound selfish, and probably I am a little selfish when it comes to that, but because it is for my mental health. So I have to be selfish.
Yeah, and you know what, Miss Nexie, also, if you don't put yourself in the position to show that you respect yourself, that there are boundaries, I will say no. I'm going to defend and protect myself. If you don't show up that way and you show up as very gullible, very docile, oh, I don't want to, offend anybody. If you stay in that mode, you will always be upset and angry, because if you don't have your own standards, other people will make them for you. I
Yeah.
learned that part in therapy, that
Yes.
you can't expect for people to know what triggers you and upsets you if you don't inform people and let them know.
Yeah, again, you have to be your own advocate on what you like and dislike, and what you want your life to look like when you grow up. You know what I mean? So when I grow up, no, you have to be your primary advocate, to make sure that you get exactly the type of life, and you live and lead the type of life that you want to. Nobody can do that for you but yourself. And so for me, as I got my therapy and I got my mental health to the point that I have today, and everything, I started making decisions to separate myself from certain people, to gently say, what, I don't think this is going to work out as friendships or relationships with family, because my mental health is important, and I'm not there yet where I have dealt with whatever happened between us, right? And I have surrounded myself with people that bring something good to me, to bring positivity. It's people that bring me a ray of sunshine every time I see them. So that I have done for me. Haven't allowed people to take my cool away for a very long time. I've always, no matter how disrespectful someone is, I put a stop to that. I stop them in their tracks right away. Don't go there, and if you do, I'm leaving. Or if you're in my house, you better go. So I have already established that. Don't mess with me because you will find out, type of thing. So I surround myself with people that understand that, and they have the same self-respect for themselves, because that's the thing, that a lot of times we have self-respect for us, but we surround ourselves with people that don't even know what that means,
Yep.
and act in ways that are irrational, crazy, and disrespectful, and you're like, why am I friends with you again?
No, and but the whole thing about it, Miss Nexie, is that I had to learn that as I've worked on myself and I've healed, I've grown. Also, what has grown has been, my standards and what I like and don't like anymore. And that's the reason why when you start to mature and you're doing better, you can't accept what you did formerly. And
Mhm.
people will say, "Oh, you've changed." And you're like, "Absolutely.
E- e-
Absolutely. I
exactly, you
sure
have changed.
have."
Why do they always say that, Miss Marlene? I'm sorry to interrupt, but you said something key. Why? Oh my God, you've changed.
I
What's
know they
happened to
always
you?
say that.
Why? Because we're not allowing them to do as they
Yeah,
like with us, do as they
that's
please.
that's why, because especially Miss Nexie, I'm only speaking for myself, but how I was formerly, I was always very like I never would say anything. People would be doing wrong things and I would just be silent. And these days, like you as well, I'll either walk away or it depends on the situation. But I
Mhm.
handle things like you're not going to talk to me or people that I care about and love. Like I don't take the
That way.
disrespect. Like no.
Yeah. And again, it takes many years of working on yourself to come to where you were supposed to be the whole time, right? To come to pass that particular arch of your life, you have to, you know we benefited from therapy, as I've said many a times here. We benefited from that. It worked for us. It doesn't for everybody, but there should be some way, somehow, that you can come, you know to be the best version of you. Again, as I said, through ebooks, to readings, to whatever it is, audible, whatever it is that you want. But make sure that you're growing your self-esteem, that you're getting rid of any negativity that you have around you, because people that are abusers by nature, or takers by nature, or um how can I put it, or
Just toxic.
disrespectful, or yeah, or toxic by nature, or narcissist. People like that don't have the brain to say, I'm going overboard on what I'm doing or what I'm saying, or I'm taking advantage of this person, or I'm gonna stop that. They don't have that kind of mindset. So it's up to you
See, I
to
hate
put
to
a
interrupt.
stop.
I hate to interrupt you, but I just got a thought, and what I didn't recognize is that some people enjoy being evil. They
Yes.
they enjoy, and I know that that sounds like something strange or weird because when I was working on myself, like I could not mentally process that. Like, how could a person enjoy being evil? But it exists and it's there, but we need to be aware so that when we see like evil happening, like there's some things that's just undeniable, like that is evil. And when you recognize that, don't try to get an apology from those people, don't try to get their support, don't listen to their schemes and their lies talking about how they're going to change and they're going to do better. No, that's a tactic that they use in order to keep you around, keep you in their life. Don't fall for their schemes. So, any final words, Miss Nexie? I don't know if Miss Nexie dropped off or not, but I wanted to say to everybody to make sure that you respect yourself, that you set boundaries, you say no when you need to, and don't let people use you. Okay? You can never do enough for these people, no matter how much you try to be kind and supportive. If you give them an inch, they want you to go a mile, and they want more money, they want more of your time, and they'll be very controlling and demanding. Those are the individuals where you cannot help or support them. They're toxic, immature, and many other things, evil, and you just have to leave those people alone. Give them time to either grow up, but that doesn't mean that you want to keep them in your life. You have to make a decision in when you have toxic people around you, manipulators and all of that. You have to make a decision at the end of the day whether or not you want to deal with these people after you recognize who they are.
Yeah, and I do this all the time when I come across people that are not, and I yeah, I'm gonna be a little bit on the I'm gonna be a little bit selfish or conceited. I don't know how you're gonna take it, but people that are not worthy of my time, my effort, my friendship, I remove myself from the situation. Let's say at work, we're gathering for something, and there's a couple of people that come in that I cannot get along with, or that I don't want to get along with, I don't want to have around. What I do is very respectfully, as soon as they walk in, I retire myself. I go away, or I find something that I forgot that I was supposed to do, right? Because at work it's different than it is when we are family. We have to have tactics to, remove ourselves from certain situations. So, I again, if we're gathering for lunch and we're having a nice conversation, the minute I see those people come in, I go away, because I know that that's the only way that we can keep the peace around, because it's a workplace, right? It's not a family gathering. Now, when it comes to family, if I don't confront you and say I don't like this and that, and I don't want to be around you, and you already know, and you show up, I leave.
Hmm.
Bluntly, just get up and go, because you already know I can't stand you, and you're doing this on purpose, and you're not gonna get that from me. So I remove myself any way I want to from a family situation, right? But you have to know that no matter what you do, or how many times you tell these people that you don't want them around, that you don't like them, or that you cannot be around them for whatever reason, they don't understand that. They do it on purpose just to bother you. So the best thing to do is remove yourself from the situation. Don't give them the time of day, and go on and do something fun after you leave the party or the gathering.
Or Miss Nexie, or don't even go.
I
That's my thing now. Like before I even accept an invitation, the first thing that I ask is who's invited.
I've been in places that they say no, so and so is not coming, and then so and so finds out and she shows up just because they know I'm there. Oh, Miss Marlene, trust me, there's family that is just horrible. Some family members are like that.
Hmm. Oh, Miss Nexie, the whole thing about it, I'm at that space in my life where if it's a situation like that, I'm gonna make them feel so uncomfortable. They're going to leave.
You are just a brat.
I'm on that sort of time these days because if I'm not doing anything and they're trying to make me feel some type of way, I'm going to shift the energy in the room to make them feel so uncomfortable that they're going to leave. I'm going to start talking about something that I know that they don't like, or something that's embarrassing for them, that they're going to get up and go. And you're going to be like, oh, you got to go. Oh, that's so sad. So, like you were saying,
You are petty. You are bad.
yeah, Petty McPettykins, and I'm okay with it.
No, again, sometimes I do it. Like I have done it, not as much, since 2020. We hardly ever have any gatherings, right? Especially in my side of the family, we hardly ever do. I guess we got used to like the staying home rules and stuff like that. But before, sometimes I will just get up and leave because of the host, right? I didn't want that person to feel uncomfortable because right away they will say, I did not invite them. I swear I didn't. I don't know how they showed up. And I knew it was true, that this person didn't invite them and they just showed up to make me feel uncomfortable. So what I used to do was just leave, say bye to the hosts and say okay bye, and just take my little kids and go home, and then they will have to explain to the rest of the family why I left, and then they will find out eventually, well, she wasn't invited but she just showed up to make her feel some type of way, and then they will be upset with that person, not me.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. Now it's like, it's also going to be there, yeah, then I'm not coming. Yeah, I can say that. But if somebody is evil, like you say, that they just like drama, they follow that, they love making people, they think that it's so cool and so funny to make people uncomfortable or whatever, and they just show up, there's nothing the host can do, really.
Yeah. Well, oh yes, there is something, because I've been in places, and if you're coming into my home and you're making everybody in the home, I'm going to say, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" And I'm going to tell you, you need to leave.
No, yeah, you and I would do that. Of course, you and I would. But I don't know, what, how the mental health, or how far is this other person, or how comfortable this other person is on saying things like that. I'm not gonna make her do that, right? If I'm
No, no,
hosting,
no.
yeah.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying people will say that it's your home, and people will be making you feel uncomfortable in your own home, and there is no way.
Oh no, not me. No, 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 no. I open the door and I say, okay, you got to go. Bye bye. Here's your keys. Don't
Mhm.
forget to write. No, if
Yeah,
it was in my
and
house,
I'm gonna put a thing, return to sender.
you're so bad. No, but sometimes you have to understand that there is people in our lives that we have encountered throughout our life, that no matter how much you do, you give, how much you go out of your way for, there's some people that it will never ever ever be enough, because they're not capable of seeing enough. They want more and more and more and more. And again, it's better just to let go of people like that, because you're gonna make yourself crazy trying to please them and trying to find that the end of that barrel. Then better off just cutting them off than putting your life through all that ordeal. At least that, for me now, that's my stance. Is like, if I see that once or twice I've done and then you're criticizing or you're not satisfied, I'm done. I'll do it twice, if you're family. I'll give you two
Uh,
opportunities. If you're not family, the first time you do that, you're gone, right? But
well,
if you're family, I'll give you a chance, an extra chance, and that's it. You're not gonna get a third one.
see, Miss Nexie, I think it depends on the severity of whatever it is. There are certain things that for me is one and done. And then there's other things, like if it's a small little thing, okay, okay. But big things, things that when people have definitely crossed the line and been severely disrespectful, there are certain things you can never come back from. All the apologies will never fix it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We're talking, yeah, like, I'm talking like small things, not huge rifts that, like you said, you cannot never come back from. That person, in the words I'm about to say, I know are cruel, but they're dead to us. right?
Yeah.
That's it. You're
Yeah.
never you're dead to me. There's no familial ties anymore. We're done. Yeah, there's cases like that when people cross the line in a way that even even to hurt you in that way, you say, you were never family. Like seriously, you never loved me. If you can hurt me like that.
Yeah.
So those people, yeah, they're history. Bye bye. Adios. But
Yeah.
when are small things, sometimes you can give people a pass. Okay, okay, fine. I'll forgive you
Yeah.
just once. Don't do it
Yeah.
again.
I do believe in giving a second chance for small things, but I think it depends on the mood I'm in. Like if somebody like did something and I already, like you already had some things stacked up against them, and it's like one little thing that they do. Okay, I'm done with them. You're like, what? All they nope. I'm done. I cut them off. I don't even know them anymore. And they're like, everybody's like, what? So
When did you do that? And why? Don't ask. They're not
yeah,
family.
I'm like, well, they've been asking for it, so today they got it.
Today I'm not in a forgiving mood.
So great topic, Miss Nexty. I enjoyed it. Thank you guys. Thanks
Thank you.
everybody for tuning into today's Sip and Chat. And I just want to say to everybody, don't let people run over you. Set your standards, set your boundaries, respect yourself, love yourself, know your worth, and enforce it because we deserve it, ladies, and we deserve it, gentlemen.
We
Thank you, Miss.
all do. Thank you for having me, Miss Marlene. And again, hit the like button, subscribe, and follow, and enjoy if you're going to be on the replay. But still, don't forget to press that like for Miss Marlene. Thank you for
And
having
leave
me,
a
Miss Marlene.
comment.
I enjoyed it. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. See you guys next week.